why did we buy a stove like this? Because one, we're off-grid, and I wanted it to be 100% off-grid. These are my daisy dishes that I'm going to be using. Good morning and welcome back to our homestead. Although as you can see, I'm not on my homestead right now. Spend a lot of time going from point A to point B, gathering supplies that we need for our homestead, especially since we're doing our cabin build. And the cabin build is what I want to talk to you about. Back in the summer, I did take a camera and I went through some of our rooms at the state that they were then. I never posted those videos because honestly, I had lots of things coming in from the garden. I had plenty of things to tell you about. I still have plenty of things to tell you about, but I did want to catch you up to date because we have started hanging the tongue and groove in our cabin. Things are going to be changing, and so this is going to be a little bit of a before and after. These particular videos, the next few that I do, I'm going to show you into our kitchen as it was. I'm going to show you into our upstairs bathroom, and then I will have subsequent videos showing you the progress that we're making. Honestly, from that time when I shot those videos, we haven't done a lot of updates on those areas because we've been focusing on other things, and we have opted to work on the sunroom. We're working on the back porch. Well, that's lesser priority. But the different projects took priority. The garden always takes priority when you have things coming in, and then you have canning, of course. So there's always a shifting of tasks, a juggling of things that you focus on. As we get the walls and ceilings hung, I'll continue to do kind of real-time progress as we're hanging the wood. So I hope this will be interesting because it will give you a time progression. It will give you a where we've come from, and it will also give you a contrast of the walls that we were doing that Adam was milling by hand with the I want to say the grain mill, but that's not right. The planer. We would mill them, plane them, shape them, and hang them. So now we, like as the last few videos have shown, we have decided to do tongue and groove on the walls because it's already kiln dried, it's already plain, but this is still a time improvement. Here we go into the videos. I hope you enjoy seeing the progress. None of these videos are at the point of completion, but we're getting there. We're working on different things simultaneously as the priorities shift. So enjoy. Since this is kind of we're trying to keep it real, in a way I kind of hate to do this because it is kind of embarrassing and it is a work in progress. Keep in mind that it is a construction zone. I'm going to give you a peek into our kitchen, and I have not cleaned it up. I haven't done anything. It's just how it is right now. But sometimes we like to see the work going on, and then when we see the final, it looks a little better, we hope. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, no judgment zone here. This is our kitchen from standing in the dining room, and yes, I see there's a lot of construction junk in here, and that's what I warned you about. This is a completely upcycled kitchen. Pretty much everything in here is upcycled. Once we get our fridge, it won't be. So we got the cabinets secondhand. I bought them off of Marketplace. I drove 2 hours to get them. They were brown. I have turned them into a sage green color, which I really like, and I distressed them. The lighting's not the best, but I'm just giving you an overview anyway. I really did like the wood color of these cabinets, and they are solid wood. They are pretty old, but with all the wood going everywhere in our house, basically on every surface, wall, ceiling, and floor, I decided to go with a color for the cabinets. I primed them and then painted them Coastal Plain from Valspar. It is a sage color, and then I distressed them lightly with a black distressing gel. Once we got the cabinets painted, I wanted to attack the hardware. They started out with, I thought it was a distressed brass, but it turns out it was just really dirty. So once I scrubbed them, it was a super shiny brass. So I used a distressing oxidizer to blacken them, and then I am going to oil rub them. So basically they are an oil rubbed bronze. They are solid. I got the medallion for the front of my cabinet under the sink from Amazon. I love the rose motif, and it just adds a little bit of whimsy and vintage flair to our kitchen. Looking at our kitchen from the dining room, we just have this partial U-shaped kitchen. I have a vintage stove that is, my vintage stove is a 1950s Wedgwood. And I have it pulled apart right now because I was checking out the springs, looking at the drawers, getting ready to do a thorough cleaning on it, which I haven't done yet. I've wiped it out, but it's got a lot of construction dust, plus it needs a good thorough cleaning before we hook it up to the propane. So here's these are vintage cabinets, and they're vintage 1 or 2 years before I was born. I guess that makes them vintage. They have the original hardware. We did exposed beams in the kitchen. The only thing in this part of the world that's new is the pot rack and the faucet, because the cabinets, the stove, the fixtures are all upcycled, thrifted. Even this plate rack and even the plates on it are vintage. And so don't ask me why I already have the plates on there. I just got kind of eager. They're all gonna have to be dusted off. But it is what it is. Sometimes a girl needs something to give her hope. And so I've halfway set that up thinking, well, let's just kind of get a feel for how it's gonna look. Anyway, it is what it is. I got my sink used at the same place where I got this stove. The sink was owned by a man who had given this to his wife when they got married, and I think it was like 80 years that it was in their house. It was the original. So I got that. I love the washboard sink, and that's going to be covering part of my countertop. The countertops will also be wood. I'm thinking about doing walnut, but we are just going to play around with what we have. We have lots of choices in wood. So this part of my stove, it has a double oven, 6 burners, 2 broilers, and I'm so looking forward to this. And why did we buy a stove like this? Because one, we're off-grid, and I wanted it to be 100% off-grid. I didn't want any electrical parts on it that I had to worry about. It has the capability of a light that I can plug in, and an oven light, but as far as running it, it just runs on propane. And actually, it was set up with natural gas, and it has the adjustable orifices that we're going to be setting up to run with propane, because that's what we have. Adam built me these little bump out shelves, which I love. They have that whole vintage theme. The fixture is the same as the bathroom fixture, only this one has the finials. So the curtains are new, but they look kind of vintage. And I do plan probably to put a little skirt on in front of my sink to cover those doors, but we'll see about that. This is where the fridge is going to go, and we have a small fridge, and it's not a vintage fridge. It's just a normal fridge. I got the cabinets at the only one that didn't quite match the other ones is this corner one, and I painted it to match. And then Adam built me those corner shelves too, which are going to hold little pieces of china and teapots and stuff. So, I don't know, I might have paid $10 for this little plate rack, and this fixture I got for about $15 at the Habitat store. All these dishes are vintage that I got at different places. These are my daisy dishes that I'm going to be using. Those are stoneware, and these are like a no-brainer. Someone's china. It's like an everyday china. First I thought they were Corelle and somebody was selling them for a good price, and then I realized they're not Corelle, but that's okay. I'll use them until they're not usable, because I think they're probably fairly fragile. Just some more of our vintage stuff. So we need to work on this bathroom, but it's coming, and once you see it with all this junk cleared out, then it will be much of an improvement. I've got some springs that I've got to order for the doors. I pulled out some of the old ones and have to replace some of these. And the funny thing was, I pulled these things out like 2 years ago, and then I couldn't remember exactly where they went. And so I had to email this guy who's an expert on vintage stoves, and he sent me a picture of where they go, because I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot. But it's, you know, I don't do this all the time. So this is just dirty. It's construction dust from so much sanding. This stove is going to be put to the test. We're going to do a lot of canning on it and do a lot of stuff. We plan to use the vinyl plank flooring for here because that is 100% waterproof, and it's not a very big area. And then we'll probably start at the end of this cabinet with the hardwoods that we've got. So that's the overview of the kitchen. It's a small kitchen. I don't have a lot of space. It actually just is a matter of perspective, because yes, it's a small kitchen, but to me, it's actually pretty spacious. Keep in mind, we've been living in our camper for over 5 years. So this is going to give me lots of elbow room, even though it technically may be kind of small. I would like to, you see where that light is? I don't know if it'll be too much to have a really small type butcher block type table, not really an island, just a stand for a workstation. The guys think it might be a little bit too much to have in there, but we shall see. I'm hoping that Adam will make me one with a wood slab, just something really simple with 4x4 legs and the big thick wood countertop. That's the end of our kitchen. It really hasn't changed much. We are using it as a storage compartment, and as you can see, I just figured we'd step out on the sun porch to get a little bit of a update. Got the door in. They worked yesterday and they got most of the tongue and groove on the ceiling. Yeah, they got the ceiling finished up to the point where we're gonna take the wall straight up, and it's kind of hard to tell here. You can tell better when I back up a little. This point over the door where it's slanted is gonna go straight up, and so the point of the ceiling will meet the wall. I'm really liking this. It looks pretty fresh and bright. I don't know that we're gonna stain it. We're trying to keep this light and bright in here. Yeah, that's where we are so far. And then today, the guys are working in the living room to do the same thing in the gambrel roof inside. It's a way bigger of a job in there. Just as an update for progress from today, they are starting in the living room. Behind me, yes, it still is a construction zone, but that's what we have here. The portion over the window and all the way up there to where Adam is, and all the way above us, all the way around, is what is going to be covered with the tongue and groove beadboard. Still doing more of the spruce, and so it is a major area to cover. It's going to be a big job, but he's starting over the window, and then when the roofing or the ceiling portion is finished, then they'll come down and work on the walls. And we are not going to do the beadboard on the walls. We're going to do the flip side. It's going to be the V-groove spruce, which is going to be the same color. This is just a different, better view of the living room, panned back a little bit. And you can see most of the walls in this house are actually ceiling. And so where that insulation is hanging down, it will be put back up in the spaces that you see. They had to take that down when they were working on tying in the roof for the sunroof. So here we are, and this is the beginning, and as it progresses, we'll see a change. Well, you've made it to the end of the second ending. This really is the ending of this video. Thanks for sticking around and checking out our kitchen and the next phase of our project. Please subscribe so you don't miss anything and so you can see the before and after. I appreciate you coming. Have a great day. Let me know what you think about it all.